This is the Create Along box, and we created this because we realized that a lot of people wanted to check out our newest products each month at a big discount. So each month this box is full of things that are brand new that we have not sold before. That way, if you do decide to get one, you know that you haven't already bought something from our regular shop. So you'll get in the mail a branded box, so you know that it's from us. And let's see, this is what was in the July 2018 Create Along box, and the theme was Woodland Fairy Tale. So we like to pack our boxes like they're a little present. So in this box, these are the things that you received. You get a card that says what's in there. So here we have the Flexi. So this is a flexible stencil that can go around curves. It's a really nice, fun thing that's exclusive to our shop. This is the silk screen that came in the kit. So it's one of our nice orange silk screens. There are instructions for your silk screen and your magic transfer paper, which is right here. So this is a sheet of image transfers that you can use to make these images on your clay. So you would cut them out and you stick them down to your clay, and then the paper rinses right off. So that's that. And then you have this little pouch of goodies. So here is an acrylic disc. I'm not going to unwrap this one because I actually have one right here. So this is an acrylic disc. This is a Tudor rose, and it's used to make stamp impressions. This was a little glass pendant kit. So it's like a little terrarium. You can put stuff inside. You could use liquid clay to bond it or glue. This is a sample of our really cool bondable fibers. So these are fibers that will stick to your clay, or you can make them into a sort of fabric. So there'll definitely be tutorials on different things you can do with this. In my mind, I would cut it up and put it inside the terrarium bead, like moss. This is a bracelet kit that was exclusive to this month's box. So this is a rose gold dragon skin bracelet with the accompanying clamps and hardware and findings to turn it into a bracelet. And then last but not least, we like to give some kind of consumable art supply because we know we all need those. So this, we had an extreme sheen. This is just from packaging. An extreme sheen paint by DecoArt, and the color is pink tourmaline. So it's actually a very shiny pink metallic paint that we have discovered works really well on polymer clay. So that is an average kit, has 6 to 8 items in it depending on the value, and it always has more than the $32 value that we charge for the kit. Or the box, whatever you want. It's called Create Along Box, and you can find it at createalongbox.com. And we only sell them for a very limited time each month, usually right at the beginning of the month. So that's what that's all about, and now I'm going to show you a couple things that I made with the July kit. So if you'll remember in my last video, I showed you how to make a strip of silicone molding material so that you could use it as a form to make sliders for the bracelet. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to use some of my Twinkle Twinkle. This is the Primo Twinkle Twinkle, so it's a black with glitter in it. And I've got my Trellis Flexi stencil. Making pieces that will fit double, so I've got that much and this much clay, probably about that much. So what I mean by this is that I'm going to square this all up, cut off any raggedy edges, See how wide I want them to be so that my trellis will fit. And I could either go this way or diagonally, which is probably better because that way you'll see the trellis. So if I go this way, I need about this much clay. You'll understand what I'm doing in a second. And I'm going to wrap this clay around my spacer bead form here carefully so it doesn't break on the edges. When you're doing a bend like this, you want to coax the clay so that it will bend. And then on the back, I'm going to smooth the seam together. So just double check your edges. Make sure that the piece of clay here on the side is not broken and cracked. And then we'll flip it back over to the nice front that I did not have a seam on, and I'm going to lay my trellis stencil on here, press it in, and I've got some pan pastels. This color is magenta. And I'm just going to dust it with my finger right onto the clay. And you'll have to look. I can tell that I could really use a little bit more powder to really get into those cracks of the stencil. See that? So I'm going to grab a brush so that I can do a really good job here of getting it in all those spaces so that when I remove my stencil, you can see the design. And I'll make a couple more of those, and then I'll have some nice sliders to put on my bracelet. I silk screened the rose vine onto a piece of some green gold that I mixed up from Primo Colors, and I just wanted to show you what I did on this jar. So I put the pink paint through the silk screen onto my green clay, and I put two sections of it on the sides here around where the seams of the bottle show up, and then on the back I flipped it so that it will show from the inside. So there is silk screening on the side of the clay facing inside toward the bottle. This isn't baked yet. I'll show you how it finishes in a few minutes. And then I had a lot of extra scrap lying around from the silk screening itself. So here's how to make a really cool bead with the scraps of your silk screens. This is a piece that I wadded up from the scraps, and I've already done part of it. So you can see here the pattern is seamless in this bead. And all you do to get that is just keep adding pieces until the bead is the size that you want. So I will lay this on the outside of the bead, covering up the messy bits where it's just kind of swirled on there. And then use the warmth and pressure of your hands, and you can integrate all the seams, and you end up with a bead that has the patterning on it. It's kind of cool. And then if you had a piece where you have, like, say, the roses here, you could place those on intentionally so as not to cover up the good parts. Like here, I really love how I can see the leaves and some of the swirls, but over here the rose is kind of missing. So I can lay the rose on here. And then just by swirling it in my hands the way you'd make any other bead, close up the seams. And there's the rose, and the leaves, and the swirling vines. And those seams go away if you just press it and squeeze it in your hands for a minute or two. And you can keep adding. For example, here's a little bit of a rose until you feel like your bead is finished. As long as your base clay is the same color that you were silk screening with, you can make all kinds of fun beads this way by intentionally laying those patterns on the outside of the bead. And then when you're finished, you can either pierce it as it is, or you can decide, as I probably would, to turn it into more of a lozenge type of bead by pressing it out a little bit. And you can let those patterns show on the front of your bead. So that's another just quick tip for you on what to do with your scraps. And here we have an earring that I'm going to make with the deco disc. And my suggestion to you with this particular disc is that you use some kind of powder or other mold release when using this particular disc, because it's got a lot of wide flat areas and your clay could get stuck depending on the temperature, and it's humid and hot here in Florida, so I'm definitely going to use a release. And I'm using some pigment powders, and I'm going to press the clay into the disc, not the other way around. If you lay your clay here and take this disc and try to press it flat on there, it's going to give you not the best result as doing it this way, where you actually turn the clay over and press it into the disc itself. See that? We get a nice clear impression. And for this earring, I'm going to take one of my cutters and just cut right around this design. And you'll notice I didn't actually cut the entire disc because I'm going to make like a half. I'm just going to use the half of the design. And I'm going to poke holes on the sides. And create a half disc earring. By using jump rings and chain. So you'll see what that looks like when I'm done. And I also have some pretty Swarovski crystals that I'm going to put on there, and you'll see the whole thing when I'm finished. So here we are with the slides for the leather bracelet. And as you can see, I added a little bling on there. And you just pop them off of your silicone piece and they slide right onto the leather. I'm not going to finish the bracelet because there's room for a lot more on here, kind of like a leather Pandora bracelet. You could do all kinds of things on here, add as many or as few slide type beads as you like. And then I wanted to show you how my bottle turned out. After I baked it, so I put a little rim here of the other color, and after baking I used dimensional pearls, which is just like one of those liquid like a fabric paint, but this is for paper. It's by Ranger, and I didn't bake it. I put it on after I was done baking, and that's what's in the sections here, just going around the silk screened parts. And now I could put stuff inside of my bottle, and I'll be able to see that pretty silk screened section from the inside. And I wanted to show you how my earrings turned out. So here's what I did with those. I actually used some Sculpey liquid bakeable clay in clear, and what I did is I flooded this area, and then I used some Swarovski crystal, and here I'll zoom in for you. And I just laid them into the liquid clay, and they stick because the liquid clay kind of comes up and grips them. So then I added a piece of chain and some more beads and made these really fun sort of chandelier earrings. And that was with half of that rose disc that looks like this. So I hope that gave you some ideas. We have so many fun little pieces in our box every month, and you can make all kinds of things with them. Your imagination is the limit, but we like to put different ideas for you on our channel so that you have a little starting off point. So have fun, and if you'd like the Create Along box, it's on sale now until the 3rd of the month, and it goes on sale at the beginning of every month. So come on over to createalongbox.com to find that. And to find just our regular everyday products, you can come to createalong.com. That's our regular shop. See you later on Polymer Clay TV.